Miami Beach in July 2003 feels suffocatingly hot. A black, unmarked vehicle cuts silently through the completely empty streets. Four heavily armed federal agents wear thick body armor while heading toward a cheap motel off Collins Avenue. They bypass the front desk and move directly toward room 212 on the second floor. The cheap wooden door features a completely garbage lock. Inside the dim room, a 22-year-old kid sits hunched over a glowing laptop screen. The harsh digital light perfectly illuminates his exhausted face in the darkness. 3 different cell phones rest on the messy bed, alongside a half-empty bag of chips. Empty energy drink cans are stacked high like a strange digital monument dedicated to absolute sleeplessness. His screen name is Soup Nazi. His real legal name is Albert Gonzalez, and he is about to experience a very violent awakening. The federal agents absolutely do not bother knocking on the cheap motel door. The wooden frame suddenly explodes, inward sending sharp splinters flying across the stained carpet. Albert violently jumps from his chair and knocks over his expensive laptop. He desperately tries sprinting toward the small bathroom. 2 massive agents violently tackle him to the ground before he can even take 3 full steps. They force him face down onto the dirty carpet and severely wrench his arms behind his back. The lead agent loudly declares he is under arrest for access device fraud. The young hacker does not physically fight back or scream for help. He just lies there breathing incredibly hard. His brilliant mind is already racing 1,000,000 miles per minute, analyzing the terrifying situation. Albert knows something incredibly valuable that these federal agents do not fully understand yet. He possesses vital information, including real names and encrypted passwords and hidden server locations. He carries the entire underground economy of stolen credit cards perfectly mapped out inside his head. This specific information is worth absolute freedom. He makes a rapid calculation that will fundamentally shape the next entire decade of American cybercrime. He decides he is going to talk and cooperate fully with the federal government. He is absolutely not making this choice because he is scared of prison or genuinely sorry for his actions. Albert simply figured out a brilliant method to become completely untouchable by the strict federal law. He plans to officially become a paid federal informant, working directly for the United States Secret Service. He will actively help them catch dangerous international hackers and dismantle massive criminal networks. However, he harbors an incredibly dark and brilliant ulterior motive. While the government pays him a handsome salary to catch criminals, he will secretly orchestrate the largest cybercrime in American history. To fully understand this incredible level of digital deception, we must rewind the clock exactly 12 years. Miami, Florida in 1991 provides the perfect setting for a unique origin story. Albert is just a 10-year-old boy living quietly with his hardworking parents in a very modest neighborhood. There is absolutely nothing seemingly special about his family or his quiet suburban street. The entire trajectory of his life shifts when his parents purchase a basic computer for his birthday. It is a simple beige box featuring a glowing green screen without any fancy modern graphics. Most normal children use these early machines strictly to play simple educational video games. Albert possesses a completely different mindset and immediately takes the expensive machine completely apart with a small screwdriver. He desperately wants to understand exactly how the complex internal systems actually communicate with each other. He spends countless hours laying out sensitive microchips and wires on his bedroom floor like a dedicated surgeon. His mother angrily yells at him, believing he permanently destroyed their expensive investment. Albert simply ignores the loud noise and rebuilds the entire machine, making it run significantly better than before. By the age of 12, Albert transitions from hardware to software. He starts writing simple calculator applications and text adventures before graduating to complex network probes. By 14, he successfully hacks directly into the secure computer systems of his local school district. He does not alter his own personal grades because he simply does not care about academic success. He operates purely for the thrilling intellectual challenge and quick profit. Desperate classmates gladly pay him $20 to magically transform failing grades into perfect scores. Teachers begin noticing highly unusual academic patterns across the student body. Students who actively refuse to complete simple homework assignments are suddenly passing difficult exams. The faculty immediately suspects traditional cheating methods like stolen physical answer keys. They completely fail to check the secure computer network because they simply do not understand digital vulnerabilities. Albert fundamentally understands computer networks better than anyone else in his entire city. By 16, he discovers the vast, untamed frontier of the early internet. He listens to the screeching sound of dial-up modems connecting him to secret chat rooms. He discovers a massive hidden world filled with brilliant outcasts speaking entirely in digital code. They share dark secrets and view the modern world purely as flawed systems waiting to be exploited. He learns incredibly fast and rapidly masters the psychological art of social engineering. He brilliantly tricks innocent people into willingly surrendering their secure passwords over simple phone calls. He learns network infiltration and packet sniffing to steal encrypted data directly from the source. He officially adopts the online handle Soup Nazi, referencing a popular television character who strictly controls access to valuable goods. Albert deeply loves the powerful metaphor. He believes he is the ultimate gatekeeper, deciding exactly who gains access to the digital underworld. By the year 2000, Albert is 19 years old without a high school diploma or legitimate career prospects. However, he is already recognized as one of the absolute best hackers in America. He is standing at the edge of the internet boom, just as major retail corporations begin moving massive operations entirely online. Millions of ordinary innocent consumers suddenly start typing their private credit card numbers directly into unsecured retail websites. Massive streams of valuable financial data begin flowing through basic wires protected by almost nothing. Albert sees the massive vulnerability that most corporate executives completely miss. He realizes every single digital transaction leaves a highly profitable data trail. Every major retail website presents a massive, unguarded target waiting to be violently compromised. Credit card fraud obviously existed long before the digital age arrived. Desperate criminals picked pockets or copied physical numbers onto dirty napkins inside restaurants. That was incredibly small-time stuff, yielding very low financial returns. The new digital age radically changes the entire criminal equation forever. Now a brilliant hacker can instantly steal millions of active credit cards from a comfortable bedroom located anywhere on the entire planet. A massive global underground economy rapidly forms in the dark corners of the internet. Hackers aggressively break into vulnerable corporate systems to steal raw financial data. Digital brokers buy and sell these stolen numbers to cashers waiting in America. The cashers encode blank plastic cards to make massive withdrawals at local teller machines. Every single role requires unique technical skills and involves completely different levels of legal risk. Albert initially starts his criminal career as a mid-level broker. He purchases stolen financial data from aggressive hackers located in Russia and Ukraine. He sells the valuable information to eager cashers and takes a profitable cut from every single transaction. However, the chaotic chat rooms where this dark business happens lack any professional structure. Digital scammers constantly rob other scammers without any reliable verification systems in place. An anonymous Russian hacker might promise 10,000 fresh card numbers and then vanish instantly after receiving payment. Someone brilliant desperately needs to bring strict corporate order to this massive digital chaos. In 2001, a revolutionary website called Shadow Crew officially launches in the digital underground. It rapidly operates exactly like a highly professional corporate marketplace, exclusively built for elite global cybercriminals. Shadow Crew features reliable escrow services and verified seller ratings to guarantee successful illegal transactions. Dedicated site moderators constantly verify the quality of stolen data before any money changes hands. Albert joins the massive criminal network very early and rapidly builds a legendary reputation. He quickly ascends the criminal ranks to become a highly respected site moderator. He officially controls the absolute largest identity theft ring on the internet. Federal Building in Miami, 2 days after the violent motel raid. Albert sits quietly inside a freezing interrogation room. Harsh fluorescent lights flicker above a cold metal table securely bolted to the concrete floor. Secret Service agent Michael Shields sits directly across from the exhausted young hacker. Shields spent 18 agonizing months tracking the massive Shadow Crew network. He desperately wants to dismantle the entire global operation completely. Arresting a single site moderator absolutely does not destroy the massive digital network. Someone else simply takes control, and the illegal business continues uninterrupted. Shields needs a highly connected insider to expose the entire criminal hierarchy. He looks closely at the 22-year-old kid facing severe federal charges. A normal judge would easily hand down 15 years in a maximum security prison for massive identity theft. Shields keeps his expression completely neutral while explaining the devastating legal reality. Albert does not cry or beg for mercy like a normal, terrified criminal. He simply starts talking and delivering incredibly valuable intelligence. He willingly provides real physical identities, hiding behind anonymous digital screen names. He exposes secret server locations hidden deeply within Latvia and Ukraine. He carefully explains their complex encryption protocols and communication channels. Then Albert offers something significantly more valuable than basic intelligence reports. He promises to get the federal agents directly inside the secured criminal network. He offers to set up elaborate digital stings to identify the absolute biggest international sellers. Shields understands the massive risk of utilizing a brilliant hacker as an undercover informant. Albert could easily feed them garbage intelligence or secretly warn his digital friends about the impending investigation. The desperate federal agents eventually make the controversial call, and prosecutors sign off on the secret deal. Albert Gonzalez officially becomes a paid confidential informant for the United States Secret Service. He receives a generous annual government salary of $75,000 plus operational expenses. His primary assigned mission is to absolutely destroy the massive Shadow Crew organization. The government completely believes they successfully flipped a dangerous criminal mastermind. What the federal agents completely fail to understand is that Albert has absolutely no intention of going straight. He just magically found the absolute perfect cover for his own massive criminal ambitions. October 2004 arrives, and Operation Firewall is officially ready to launch. 14 months of intense secret investigation produced thousands of intercepted digital messages. The massive federal plan involves simultaneous violent arrests across 8 different countries. Late in the evening, heavy federal agents aggressively move against 28 specific targets. They simultaneously raid homes in New Jersey and Arizona and California alongside international partners in Bulgaria and Sweden. By the early morning hours, the entire massive Shadow Crew marketplace completely goes dark forever. Years of sophisticated criminal infrastructure are violently erased in a single coordinated night. The press immediately calls it the largest cybercrime takedown in history. Albert safely watches the massive breaking news coverage from his comfortable apartment in Miami. He holds a cold beer and smiles brightly at the flashing television screen. He is absolutely not smiling because justice was served or because he helped the federal government. He is smiling because he just successfully utilized federal agents to completely eliminate his criminal competition. Every major hacker who knew his methods is now facing federal prison. The grateful Secret Service actively gives him a financial bonus and proudly calls him a brilliant national hero. While Albert was secretly gathering devastating evidence for Operation Firewall, he was simultaneously building something else entirely. He quietly recruited brand new elite hackers from Russia and Ukraine who never associated with his old network. These are highly skilled individuals the American government absolutely does not even know exist. He is assembling a ghost crew. He actively identifies brand new massive corporate targets, offering significantly bigger financial payoffs. He develops entirely new hacking techniques and highly sophisticated malware tools that he absolutely never shares with his official federal handlers. The extremely confident Secret Service agents truly believe they are successfully using Albert to clean up the internet. They are completely blind to the terrifying reality. Albert is brilliantly using the federal government to build his own unstoppable criminal empire. The year is 2005, exactly 12 months after Operation Firewall successfully closed. Albert Gonzalez sits comfortably inside a silver vehicle idling in a massive South Florida mall parking lot. It is a sunny Saturday afternoon, and his car looks completely normal to passing shoppers. However, an expensive laptop rests on the passenger seat, connected to a powerful external antenna hidden inside a dark backpack. He is actively hunting for vulnerable wireless signals. The retail industry is currently experiencing a massive technological revolution regarding wireless payment processing. Retailers are rapidly replacing reliable wired cash registers with brand new wireless point-of-sale systems. They desperately want faster transactions and significantly lower installation costs across their massive stores. Unfortunately, basic network security remains a terrible afterthought for these wealthy corporate executives. Most major stores utilize incredibly outdated encryption standards from the late 90s. Albert slowly drives from one massive shopping mall to another, while his specialized software probes the invisible airwaves. He easily locates a vulnerable department store, utilizing an extremely weak encryption protocol connected directly to their internal cash registers. He parks his vehicle at the dark edge of the massive lot and immediately runs his custom cracking tools. Barely 11 minutes later, he successfully breaches the store network and views every single connected internal device. He does not immediately steal anything from the active retail network because he plays a much longer game. He quietly plants highly sophisticated malware, known as a digital sniffer, directly into their central processing system. This invisible program sits completely dormant until an innocent customer actively swipes their plastic card. It secretly captures the card number and expiration date before sending the valuable data directly to an untraceable server located deep in Latvia. He successfully hits dozens of individual retail locations across Florida and Massachusetts using this incredibly exact wireless method. However, Albert rapidly grows bored with stealing mere thousands of card numbers from vulnerable individual stores. He focuses his brilliant criminal mind on a significantly larger corporate target located in Framingham, Massachusetts. The massive company owns thousands of popular retail stores spread across 3 continents, processing billions of dollars in annual revenue. If his elite crew can successfully penetrate the central corporate network, they will bypass the individual stores completely. Every single retail transaction ultimately flows directly into the massive corporate servers for daily processing and backup storage. In the middle of the night, his team violently cracks the wireless network of a single retail location in Miami. They use this tiny digital doorway to successfully tunnel directly into the massive central corporate mainframe. They immediately discover the absolute motherlode of unsecured financial data sitting completely unprotected on the corporate servers. Millions of customer transaction records and unencrypted credit card numbers simply wait in the dark digital vault. Albert begins downloading the massive database in careful nightly batches to avoid triggering any corporate bandwidth alarms. They successfully steal over 45 million active credit card numbers, marking the absolute largest retail data breach in human history. Albert absolutely cannot manage this massive criminal empire entirely alone, so he builds a highly specialized elite team. Stephen Watt is a brilliant software engineer writing legitimate trading algorithms for major Wall Street banks during the day. By night, he writes the devastating stealth malware that completely evades modern corporate antivirus detection systems. Christopher Scott handles the dangerous ground operations by driving thousands of miles across the country, planting the invisible digital sniffers. Damon Patrick Towie serves as the primary cashier tasked with turning digital numbers into physical, massive wealth. He carefully encodes the stolen data onto blank plastic cards and makes massive, late-night automated teller withdrawals. Maxim Yastremski operates as the international distributor, buying millions of stolen cards in bulk from his hidden location in Ukraine. The entire illicit operation runs exactly like a highly efficient Fortune 500 corporation, with Albert acting as chief executive. Albert is pulling in millions of dollars and rapidly upgrades his lifestyle to reflect his massive illegal wealth. He purchases a luxurious oceanfront condominium and exclusively wears expensive custom suits while partying at elite South Beach clubs. Meanwhile, he continues attending his mandatory Secret Service intelligence meetings entirely without raising any federal suspicion. He periodically feeds his federal handlers small-time disposable hackers to keep the government agents perfectly happy and completely blind. He successfully plays both sides of the dangerous legal fence perfectly until he decides to target the ultimate prize. Heartland Payment Systems actively processes hundreds of millions of retail transactions every single month for businesses across America. One successful digital breach could easily yield significantly more valuable data than every previous corporate attack combined. However, this massive financial company actually takes digital security seriously and lacks any vulnerable wireless networks at their retail locations. Albert requires a completely different technical approach to bypass their heavy corporate firewalls and sophisticated security audits. His specialized elite team targets the public-facing websites, looking for any weak digital input forms connecting to back-end databases. They plan to utilize a devastating technique called structured query language injection to essentially trick the massive database. Instead of typing normal text, they will force the system to execute malicious commands and grant them total administrative control. Late 2007 arrives with a devastating and silent digital strike against Heartland payment systems. The elite hacking crew successfully injects malicious code directly through a vulnerable web application form. They bypass the massive external firewalls and gain initial access to the highly secure internal network. They quickly plant highly sophisticated malware deep inside the transaction processing infrastructure. The invisible malware represents the absolute masterpiece of Stephen Watt. It embeds itself perfectly into the core system without triggering a single security alarm. Every single time an innocent customer swipes a credit card at a client business, the transaction flows through the compromised servers. The silent program instantly captures the card number and expiration date, along with the security code. Massive batches of stolen financial data transmit seamlessly to overseas servers, controlled exclusively by the elite crew. Night after night and month after month, the digital sniffer runs completely undetected by corporate security. By the time Heartland finally discovers the massive intrusion, they calculate a staggering loss. Albert successfully stole approximately 130 million active card numbers from one single company. Combined with his previous corporate attacks, the grand total exceeds 160 million stolen credit cards. It is officially the absolute largest identity theft operation in American history. Meanwhile, Albert Gonzalez incredibly remains a trusted and highly paid federal informant. He continues attending official government meetings while secretly managing an illegal empire worth hundreds of millions of dollars. The massive criminal operation finally begins unraveling deep inside a Secret Service field office in San Diego. Agent Steve Heyman is carefully reviewing international financial records for a completely different cybercrime investigation. A highly familiar name keeps appearing constantly in the thick stack of banking documents. He recognizes Albert Gonzalez as the famous star informant who helped destroy the Shadow Crew network. The official financial records absolutely do not match the humble story of a reformed hacker. Albert officially receives a government salary of $75,000 per year. However, his lavish spending patterns clearly suggest a massive hidden income stretching into the millions. Heyman discovers a direct financial connection to the Ukrainian broker recently arrested in Turkey for trafficking stolen data. Chat logs reveal the arrested international broker received enormous data shipments from a highly trusted partner operating in Miami. The complex wire transfers and communication patterns point directly toward the star federal informant. Heyman brings these explosive findings to his skeptical supervisors, who initially refuse to believe the terrible truth. Accusing their star asset means admitting the entire federal agency was brilliantly fooled. The persistent agent aggressively pushes forward and secures authorization to allow the bend. The dark picture finally comes into perfect focus for the completely humiliated federal agency. While attending classified security briefings, Albert was secretly planning massive corporate heists. While taking government taxpayer money, he was actively stealing hundreds of millions from innocent American citizens. The ultimate betrayal is totally complete. May 7, 2008 brings a violent end to the massive digital empire. Albert wakes up at 6 in the morning to the terrifying sound of heavy pounding on his front door. He instantly recognizes that specific sound from the cheap motel raid 5 years ago. But this time, there is absolutely no secret deal left to make with the government. Furious Secret Service agents violently flood the luxurious Miami apartment with their heavy weapons drawn. The exact same federal agency that paid his salary is finally here to take him down. Investigators discover overwhelming digital evidence scattered everywhere across the expensive residence. They find numerous laptops and massive hard drives packed with encrypted credit card numbers perfectly organized by banking institution. Agents tear the luxurious apartment apart and find heavy duffel bags absolutely stuffed with physical currency hiding in the closet. They rip up the expensive floorboards and discover even more hidden wealth totaling over $1 million. However, the most heartbreaking discovery happens miles away in a quiet suburban neighborhood. Federal investigators visit the completely shocked parents of the brilliant criminal mastermind. His devastated parents remember a very strange recent visit from their wealthy son. He carried a heavy plastic barrel and asked to bury it deep in their quiet backyard near the back fence. Federal agents dig 3 feet into the dirt and pull up over $1 million in vacuum-sealed cash. His heartbroken mother cries uncontrollably as they unearth the buried pirate treasure. March 25, 2010 arrives at the federal courthouse in Boston. Albert Gonzalez stands quietly before the federal judge, wearing a bright orange prison jumpsuit and heavy steel handcuffs. He is directly responsible for massive corporate losses exceeding $400 million. The judge looks directly at the fallen digital king and delivers a crushing final assessment. The judge coldly states that the American government trusted him and gave him an incredible opportunity to reform. While acting as their highly paid asset, he deliberately committed the exact massive crimes he was hired to prevent. He operated brilliantly as a digital double agent, purely driven by unstoppable corporate greed. The judge hands down a devastating 20-year federal prison sentence. It is officially the absolute longest sentence ever handed down for computer crimes in American history. The brilliant kid from Miami possessed incredible natural talent and a completely legitimate path forward. He could have spent his entire life successfully catching dangerous international criminals for the government. Instead, he allowed his overwhelming greed to completely destroy his undeniable genius and his freedom.